Season 3 of Skate 4, or Skate Dot, or just Skate, depending on your preference, dropped a few days ago. It comes with a new catalogue of extremely ugly and tacky clothes and an amazing selection of stupid costumes that no one is going to wear, like a crash test dummy. But amid this amazing content drop of just perfect aesthetic dress pieces is a new map. We're about 6 months in to the launch of Skate, and they just dropped a new map. It's the Tutorial Island, or Isle of Grom, as it's now called. I won't lie, when EA announced this at first, I was pretty excited. I've played the Tutorial Island twice, when I did the playtest back in 24/25, and when the game actually launched in September of 25. I thought it was pretty okay. Not amazing, but not bad, just a very simple mega ramp line with a death race track, basically. It was a fine introduction to the skate mechanics, but like I said, it was just okay. But for some reason, people have a longing to play this map again. At first, I really didn't get it, but then I clocked it. Sam Vansterdam, the main map, is terrible. It has no flow, most lines have zero purpose, the mega structures lead to nowhere. Just either a flat landing that you will bail on, or just a half pipe that then leads you into a wall. So, is Isle of Grom setting the standard for future maps to meet? Or is the tedium of San Vansterdam just making the skate community delusional? Unfortunately, I think it's the latter, but let me explain why. I think even if you enjoy this map, which is fair enough, you'll agree with a lot that I have to say. I felt like instead of tackling the map as a whole, it'll make more sense for me to tackle the island area by area, spot by spot. I just want to say, as a whole, a common issue with the EA map design philosophy with Skate./Skate4/Skate is purpose. Like I said earlier, a lot of the lines, the parks, and the spots don't flow well, and they lead to pretty much nothing. This is just as evident here as it is on places like the Tri-Towers, or the SV News Plaza, or the parking garage mega jump to the church. It's not satisfying to hit or to land, and it essentially serves no purpose. It doesn't get you from a good spot to an even better spot. It takes you from mid to mid. I'm going to be ranking these spots out of 10, and the way I'm going to be doing it is I'm just going to be ranking it in complete isolation to this map. So if I say something is a 9 out of 10, that does not mean it's a 9 out of 10 in the whole of the Skate series. I'm saying for this map, this spot is a 9 out of 10. So don't be thinking that I'm going to rate Beach Boulevard as one of the best parks in the whole game or in the whole series, because it's not. It's just the best part of that map. But anyway, let's get to the rankings. Alright, for the first spot, let's start off with the upper Spillway. Ultimately, it's a decent speed track with some fun grinding and carving opportunities. There's some decent jumps, but it's quite empty, and it has a lot of significant design issues. And instead of fine-tuning the first red gap that we see, that's another thing to note as well, is for some reason they've marked the gaps in this game and places you can jump to with red paint. Like, this is game journalist friendly. Anyway, the first red gap that we see, you will always overshoot, and instead of fine tuning it, they just leave it like that, so you have to either spread eagle or kill your speed in some way. The bridge gap is not possible. The bank is an instant speed kill. It looks reminiscent of the Skate 3 bridge gap, but ultimately this one, you just can't even skate it. I don't understand why it's even here. There's kind of an issue with Skate as a whole, is that there's a bunch of gaps that you can't make without exploiting the game in some way, which it shouldn't be up to us to break the game to make the game playable. Anyway, back to the critique. There is an empty pump house for some reason. There's absolutely nothing here. I don't know why this is even here. You cannot set up anything interesting DIY wise, like there's nothing to set up aside for some half pipes and a fun box, and even then it still sucks. There's a terrible DIY spot, a brutal ledge, and a hubba section with absolutely no floor. This is actually probably the most fun you can have in this section of the Spillway, in my opinion. but there is also a lot of high speed, high flying opportunities, but it just doesn't flow that well. All in all, I think I'm going to give Upper Spillway a 6 out of 10. It's got decent speed and there's some decent fun to be had here, but it's ultimately poorly designed. Lower Spillway. Now, this is an extension of Upper Spillway, as you can tell by the name. You can go directly from Upper Spillway to Lower by dropping in from the top. Actually, that's probably the best way to play this part of the Spillway, because that is where you're going to get the most speed. You can follow the speed line from Spillway into this weird sewer system where you have to pull a complete 180 to turn around and get into the Lower Spillway. It's a terrible part of the map. This is absolutely terrible. This is the shit part. But the Lower Spillway, it's decent for air, like I said, especially if you drop in at the top where the red gamer journalist paint is. But why is there a manual pad in the middle of the bowl? Is this a bowl? Not really. It has no floor, and it's got a horrendous fun box that you cannot flow a line on. It leads nowhere as usual, and it has a pipe that launches out into the bowl, and it's for nothing. If you come out at the top, you got nowhere to go except back into the pipe or back into the bowl. And there's this very strange bank on the side that you cannot do anything with. There's just too much clutter around, there's too many random things just strewn around. It's a really weird bit of the map. This is worse than Upper Spillway. This gets a 5 out of 10. Pump track. This is terrible. This is a strong contender for the worst part of the map. This is extremely slow, which is the opposite of what a pump track is supposed to be. It has 2 obstacles. It is awful. I absolutely despise this part of the map. I don't understand why it's here. It is a waste of space. You never see anyone skating here. It is terrible. 0 out of 10. It's genuinely horrendous. The main mega gap, it's good for the tutorial. This is where you start the tutorial, I believe. But my only gripe with this one is that it's way too easy to overshoot. So the way you drop in is kind of weird. It's got a really weird roll in, which kills your speed, but then you get a really steep decline, so it instantly ramps your speed up. It's very easy to overshoot. You kind of need to kill your speed a bit if you want to hit the landing ramp. And then you hit this kind of half bowl, which you can cut through the middle of to hit another big gap, which leads you to that really weird half pipe spillway, which is ultimately useless. Not much to say on this one. It's fun, but in the same way that the garage to church gap is ultimately nothing to write home about unless you immediately divert to the speed track when you hit the landing ramp. But other than that, this is 7 out of 10. It's not necessarily poorly designed, it's just boring. Next spot, Beach Boulevard. This is the best quote-unquote park on the map, but the bar is really low and this is barely a skate park. This is more of a BMX park or a scooter park. You know, the big ramps and the floor design, it's not really skate floor, it's more of a big BMX backflip floor rather than flip trick floor. If you've been playing skate for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, so what's actually technically wrong with this skate park? There's 3 rails, a 2-stair that lands on a bank for some reason. There's no Euro gap, there's no real stair set, just a mani pad and some rails. Also, this pump section, why on earth is there a very grindable ledge next to it that you can't grind because the speaker's in the way? This is a major problem with just skate in general. It's trying too hard to be realistic and they are terrified of having undetailed space. We'll touch a bit more on this later, but the clutter in this game is asinine. It's terrible. And speaking of which, just very quickly, back to Lower Spillway, why is there a light on this quarter pipe? You can't hand plant it, it just knocks you off. There's a big issue with the game in general, but like I said, we'll talk about this a bit later. But Beach Boulevard, decent for about half an hour. Very, very non-skate oriented skate park. 6 out of 10. Spillway runoff. Now you can get to here from the pump track, or this is at the end of the spillway speed line. This This part of the map bewilders me. Let's just get a bit technical for a second. Why is the same fun box repeated? I hate this in Skate. When they try to make DIY spots, it removes the incentive to do it yourself, and it always has collision issues. This whole entire section is far too big and empty for its own right. The best part is the fun boxes towards the end and the little big ramp you can flip off of. Far too empty again, there's literally nothing here. And I hate the excuse of, oh, the developers created the empty space so you can fill it in with your quick drop. Fill it with what? There's no decent placement to make this a nice, fun, flowy spot. It's too empty, it's too linear. The devs are just lazy. Also, 5 objects is not enough to fill in this whole line. It's not possible. Everything is too far spaced out. By the time you start hitting these ramps, you've lost all your speed, and by the time you hit these fun boxes, you've got no speed. The run up is too much, there's no floor, repeated obstacles, but it's not the worst part of the map, and like I said, I'm rating it in context of the map, so this will be a 5 out of 10. Further Spillway. This is where you land from the main mega ramp, and ultimately I do not understand why the spot exists. It's a half pipe with multiple roll-ins, fine, but what's the deal with the bottom end? It goes nowhere, and it's got these 2 stupid skinny little quarter pipes that are almost impossible to hit, especially with this little bump just before it. It goes absolutely nowhere and serves no purpose aside from finishing the mega line. Also, when you land here from the main mega ramp, good luck trying to trick to the left or to the right. The angle change on the half pipe from when you launch your angle changes so drastically you will not land it. Carving from the landing can actually be quite fun, but that's pretty much it. It's a decent half pipe, but we can build our own. We don't need this. This is a 4 out of 10. Full speedway / speed track / spillway / speed line. I don't know what to call this. The game can't decide what to call this. It calls it a speed line in the missions, it calls it spillway and something else, it calls it a whole bunch of different things. This map has not been set up properly. The developers do not know what to call this section of the map. He doesn't know what to call half of the map. But anyway, this part of the map is strange, man. Half of the speedway has you going quite fast, and then it suddenly gets extremely flat halfway through the speed line and your speed is just gone. Remember the speed tracks, the death races in Skate 2? They had a lot of stuff for you to skate as you blasted your way down. Tunnels, rails, ramps, kickers, fun boxes. This just has curbs. That's it. You've got curbs to skate. You just got a curb to slappy grind and, oh sorry, there's this random DIY kicker. There is absolutely nothing to write home about, but it has a little secret. There is a skatable launch rock hidden behind these bushes, which will launch you into the speedway nice and fast. That's honestly probably the best part of this section of the map. I've had some decent lines using this little shortcut to keep my speed, and I'll be honest, this is probably the most fun speed line on this map, if not in Skate 4. You can do a lot of carving once you get down to the second section of the speed line, and there is a lot of trick opportunities to air out of the little spillway into the next section, skipping over parts of it, increasing speed. Like I said, this part of the map is good, but there's lots of sections where it just randomly kills your speed. But in the context of Isle of Grom, this speedway is a 8 out of 10. Alright, event space. This is quite possibly the worst spot in all of Skate 4. This is the poster child of EA's faulty map design philosophy, which is make a bland barn space and let the players fill it in themselves. There is nothing to say about the parking lots. This just sucks. The skate park is somehow worse though. You're probably looking at this thinking, oh, that looks flowable, not too bad. No. almost all of these objects kill your speed instantly because the devs still haven't fixed the speed killing in the engine. They still haven't fixed the speed killing glitches from pushing and carving and pumping. It's still there. This is a very mid park. Actually, this is not even a mid park. This is a terrible park. This is quite possibly the worst park in the game. So, at both ends of the park, we have quarter pipes. For some reason, there is a quarter pipe in the middle of a quarter pipe. I know some skate parks do this. However, never in my entire life have I ever met a fan of this. Someone who's like, oh, I'm really glad there's an obstacle in the middle of this floor park. Yeah, alright, sure. There's then this little kicker that goes over a van that lands into another kicker, which you have to have full speed to land, which you might need to kind of kill a bit because you're either going to hit your head on the roof or you're going to overshoot. Very hard to get this to land smoothly. Then, at the other end of the park, we have two split quarters with a skeleton in the middle. This is somewhat fine because at least the quarter pipe is split up, so I know I'm going to gap. However, it would be really nice if we just had a normal quarter pipe at the end that I could use to kick turn to get to the next floor section. And now we have to look at this horrendous fun box, man. This is terrible. It is free, for some reason, curvy rolling things. I can't even remember what these are called. With a horrendous flat bar in the middle of it, which this is such a strange decision. And then there's a flat bar to the left, and then there's a manual pad to the right, which is got nothing on it. There's no ledge, there's no hover to it, there's nothing. There should be at least a flat bar there, but there isn't. This is just all in all a massive waste of space. You could actually fix this park though. First off, remove this quarter, it's pointless. Then remove this rail, actually remove the bump entirely and add a flat bar to the mani pad. Also, man, this is what I dislike about Skate the most, is the most unnecessary amount of clutter. Why are these shelves full? It's a fucking skate park. I want to grind this. This looks grindable and fun. Move this snowblower. I have destroyed so many lines from bumping into this. This is an issue across the entire game. The speakers everywhere for this awful mechanic of song hunting kills so many spots. It just adds so much visual and physical clutter to the game. Here's a great example. My favourite part of San Vansterdam is the tunnel after the bridge that they added. This is actually a pretty good contrast, to be honest. The bridge has absolutely nothing on it. It's completely empty, and that's honestly quite strange for this game. It should have something there. But this tunnel has an amazing floor. Except, look at all this clutter. There's so many random objects added in the middle of the tunnel, in the middle of lines for more realism and more visual eye fidelity. It completely ruins the game half the time. So many things randomly spur about that completely ruin your line. This is fine in games like Red Dead, where it's a real world and it's reaching for a level of realism, or even Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, but even in that game, I can't fucking stand the amount of clutter that's in it. This is Skate 4. There's no realism being attained in this cartoony styled game, so why is there such an emphasis on visual fidelity and making sure that there's so much clutter in the game that you just can't even focus on what you're doing? Clear up the clutter. The goal of this game isn't high fidelity, it's fun, and this stops it from being fun. All in all, I worry that Isle of Grom is a sign of things to come. Maps behind paywalls, broken promises, poor designs, and ultimately a misunderstanding of the franchise that seems to leach into the fans as well. People seem to misremember the Skate series as this Mega Ramp based game, but it never was and it never will be. The majority of the fan base, yeah, they used the Mega Ramps, but 99% of the game was street skating. Mega Ramps were an afterthought for Skate. Street skating always has and always should be the focus of the franchise. The majority of the spots in all three games prior to 4 were street. And the devs of Skate 4 at first seem to have understood this, because most of San Van Sedan is street spots. Albeit terrible, they're still street. The reason I'm saying all of this is because we're never going to rekindle the magic of the previous games if we keep asking for the wrong stuff. People weren't asking for Skate 2 to be crazier than Skate 1. They wanted Skate 1 but better. People weren't asking for Skate 3 to be crazier than Skate 2. They just wanted Skate 2 but refined. But for some reason, we're now asking Skate 4 to be a crazy wacky version of Skate 3, which is what we've got. Something else to note is that the devs think we want all of these glitchy situations and these glitches that help us launch away. This means that the devs get away with giving us a very unstable, underbaked engine. The fundamental gameplay of Skate 4 is still not there, and they don't really have to correct it because the really loud majority of Skate are the people who are doing these kind of things. There needs to be a change in design philosophy at EA. The speed lines should lead into a sick park that you can blast at full speed, or a crazy double bridge gap like in 3, instead of it ending in a dead end. Instead of asking them for a new map, we need to be asking them to fix the current one. It's terrible. We get nothing by acting like it's okay. We seem to forget that as a fan base, the crazy things that were being done in Skate 1 and 2 were us bending the game to our will, which unfortunately tricked EA into thinking that we wanted a flanderization of Skate 2, which is what Skate 3 became. And then Skate 4 became a flanderization of Skate 3. The devs and the community forget that only a small portion of the players were doing these high-flying glitches and launches. Most of the fan base were playing the game normally, hitting up the carefully crafted street spots and constantly trying to get a better line, get a better clip, or looking for secret spots. To bring that magic back of the first 3 games, we need a normal game that isn't trying to achieve these buggy heights. Those were only achieved by breaking the very system the game is built into, not by developmental efforts. So I beg of you, the fans, stop asking for mega ramps, for higher launches, for lower gravity. Ask for a normal game with a normal map, a true continuation of Skate. And EA, please stop with these cosmetics. That's all.